So my name is Jean-Christophe. People call me JC. I'm a French engineer. Been in Japan for 17 years now. I live in Nara. I spent my whole life in the car and the motorsports industry, basically. What else? When I'm not working, I'm spending time in the local racetracks, driving fun cars. Yeah, I wouldn't say fast, but fun cars at least. And I document the journey on my YouTube channel called BAKAJON, pretty much. I was lucky enough to drive several different cars, different type of cars. And now I have a Mazda ND Roadster and this Suzuki Alto for endurance racing, basically, but you know, fun car. That's what I like.
Sweet, cool. How'd you get started with cars? You know, the very beginning. You know, you're a kid, you're in France.
I guess, you know, when you're a boy, young, you're always, you know, attracted by cars. I did like some RC back in the days. I did like a plastic die cast as well. But I don't think there was anything really serious. You know, just like any other boys, pretty much. My dad wasn't into cars at all. And I think that's my first trip to Japan that pretty much changed everything. Yeah.
When was the first trip?
I was 15 years old. So I was playing basketball with a friend of mine. He was half Japanese, half French. And he told me, yeah, I'm going to visit my grandparents in Japan. You want to come with me? And I was, yeah, why not? I didn't know anything about Japan back then, to be honest. And we went for 2 weeks. It was back in Saitama. And we pretty much spent our day like skateboarding, playing basketball, you know. That was what we were doing back then. And I remember the day we left. So his dad's friend drove us back to the Narita airport. And I was pretty much like half asleep, you know, back of the car. And I remember, like, this is a very vivid memory. I remember hearing this roar coming from behind, you know, like, roar. And I just woke up and I saw this like fast car passing by, like, whoa! And 4 red taillights. I was like, what the fuck is that, you know? And I asked my friend's dad, I was like, what is that? This is like a Skyline GTR. And he's like, whoa. And I think that's pretty much when it started. I was like, oh, okay, that's, you know, I grew up in Chamonix in the mountains. We don't have like many sports cars back then. Even in France, you don't have like those kind of like noisy, fast cars, you know? And I was really shocked to see that car flying by, the speed and the sound. And I think that's pretty much where my deep interest in car started. And after we came back to France, I started to research about the car. It wasn't like before Gran Turismo. So, you know, we had like nothing. It was the beginning of the internet. I am that old. Not even magazines. I mean, maybe once in a while, but in French magazines, they wouldn't know anything about Skyline. And it was really hard to find information on the car. And I remember looking on the internet, finding those like tiny pictures. Even one of my friend's place, I printed one. It was like a thumbnail size, you know, and I kept it in my wallet. And I think that's where it started my interest for cars and for Japanese sports cars in particular. Yeah. Yeah.
So between then and moving to Japan, what made you move here? What made you like motivate you to come to Japan and start this life away from France?
So during this first trip, I was shocked by the kindness of people here. It was clean, you know, and when you were a kid, it was just like fun. And I kind of like, okay, Japan is cool. I wanted to know a little bit more. And because of the car thing as well, like it evolved for a few years. And my friend, 4 years later, told me like, yeah, I'm going back to Japan to visit my grandparents. We were like 18 back then, something like that. And I asked him, can I go again with you? He was like, yeah, sure. So we went back. I went off. I mean, I had like 4 years to study cars, to learn more about Skylines and stuff. And when I came here, I was like, fuck. That was in 1999, the year they released the the R34, sorry, just a few months before. And we got back to Saitama, and I was spending the whole days looking for cars around. I got to know more about Japan culture and Japanese people. And that's pretty much when I knew that I wanted to spend more time here, And then 4 years later, I found a way to spend a year as an exchange student. So I was 2021.
So you're in college, you're 22.
Yeah, and so I spent a year in Sendai. Not here, up north. Yeah, in Tohoku. Yeah, and that was, I knew then that I wanted to be here, So it was just a year. I had to go back. I worked a little bit, and the first chance I got, I moved back in 2005, I think, something like that. Yeah.
When you moved here permanently?
When I moved, yeah. It wasn't. That was supposed to be a year, but I just stayed.
You extended it. Yeah. So when you're still in France, did you get into cars there?
Yeah. Sorry. So
What
after that first trip, I was only 15, so no driving license or anything. But when I turned 18, I was lucky enough to be able to get a sports car, a Mazda 323, the Familia GTR actually. It was the first car for me back then, and I pretty much started like mountain racing. That was the only thing.
In the Alps?
Yeah, in the Alps. Yeah, that was the only thing we had back then. I didn't really have access to any racetracks or anything.
Was there a scene?
No, not really.
It was just you?
No. It was just me. It was me, a couple of friends. I remember we went for a track day at some point, but we didn't really know. It's like in the US, you have those like tracks in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't look like a race track, but you can race, And it was fun, but it didn't really feel like racing or anything. It was just like a safe road, kind of. And yeah, that was the kind of the beginning of me driving. But racing activity, I'd say, like that's pretty much when I moved here. The year I spent as a student, I knew that I wouldn't be sitting at the university the whole day. I knew I came here using this excuse to spend time with car guys, And pretty much halfway through the year, I didn't quit, but I didn't really go to the classes, and I spent most of my time at the car shop there. Very nice car shop called Garage M. And oh man, the story, it's just like I have. You're probably gonna cut that one, but that's the first very turning point in my life was the 32 experience that I just mentioned, and the second one. So one day when I was a student, one of my friends would lend me his scooter, so I could just drive around and go to the shops and talk to people. And that day I went to visit Zesty, a car shop there. It was closed. On the way back, I saw another car shop with French cars. It was closed as well, but I just stopped, check it out. And while I was walking, I saw that 34 stopped, parked on an alley. And nothing special, I've seen 44 before, and I was like, okay, but it looked cool. And I just got close to the car, and I talk a lot, and I was like, oh, that's a cool car, whatever. And the guy was behind the car, I didn't see him, and just stood up. It was like, whoa, who's talking like his weird language, And he was the owner. And we started to chit-chat, and my Japanese was really bad back then. And I was like, yeah, I love Skyline GTR, that's my dream car. And he was like, okay. He was like, you want to go for a ride? I was like, yeah, sure. And that was the 34 V-Spec Newer. They would just release the car. Oh, yeah.
What color?
The champagne one.
It was Jade, Millennium Jade.
Yeah. And his car was tuned by Prova. And it took me for a ride, like for 30 minutes. It was blasting the car in the street. I was like, oh, fuck. I have all that in video, man. It was amazing. And long story short, because there is other stuff in between. One day we kept in touch. One day he was like, yeah, I'm gonna drive if you want to come with me. And I was like, okay. So he took me for a drive around the city, and he was like, yeah, I have to visit a customer, and just give me 5 minutes. And we stopped at that car shop, and I was like, wow, that's cool. They have like Skylines, tuned cars, like S14, you know. And I really loved the place. And when it was time for my first holiday, I told him, like, do you think I can ask them if I can just chill at the shop and, you know, talk to the guys and see what they're doing? He was like, yeah, no problem. And that's when I started to go to that Garage M place. And they pretty much, how can I say, they welcomed me as part of the crew, and I would spend most of my time there. That's why I told you, like, halfway through the year at the university, I just stopped going to the classes, and I went to the shop pretty much every day. And they would, yeah.
Did you start studying engineering to get into, like, to start working on cars and stuff like that, or was it unrelated? Was it your entry point?
No, I was working on my car back in France already, yeah. The Mazda Familia GTI I had, it was like pretty modified already.
The question is more, did you get into engineering? Sorry, did you get into engineering because you like cars?
Oh no. I always liked the mechanical things anyway.
Oh.
That was yeah.
Always had the fascination.
Yeah, for mechanical stuff, yeah. And that's pretty much and I started to do mechanic on my own, and you know.
So did you ever make your own parts like early on, or you just kind of just studied at school and then like just stayed in engineering?
I would say like mainly studied, but I remember on the Mazda I designed a few parts myself because it's a very rare car, and it was really hard to get parts, especially in France. So I remember, like, especially for the intake or, you know, turbo piping, I would do stuff myself, yeah. Starting to, yeah.
It's a very random car for France. You can buy like a 205 GTI.
Yeah. Yeah.
About a 323.
Yeah. But then, yeah, back to the story. I spent most of my time with the shop. They would take me to the track, mountain racing. And when I came back, when I moved, I had like more money. It was like for professional purpose. And that's when I got my first own car here, and I just took it to the track. And that's pretty much where my racing. It was a 32 GTS. It looked like a GTR though, but it was it was cheap back then, you know. And that's pretty much when my racing experience really started. Spending time on track, proper tracks, you know, with pits and everything.
What was your first track day like? Where was it?
It was in Sendai Island. The car, doesn't exist. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, that was probably the saddest day of my life.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I remember it was a day they called My Pest Lap. So basically, once you have the license, you pay for every lap you drive, and it was like 300 yens or maybe $2 or something.
Super cheap.
Oh, it was super cheap. So my friend was able to get me the license without me doing like kind of like a, you know, test or whatever. And I went on the track for the very first time with my own car. I think it was like in the middle of the week, so no one's there. Maybe like 4 or 5 cars, I don't know. And I was driving the Type M. Because back in France, I started by drifting. That was my thing. And when I came to Japan, I wanted to do drifting as well. But it was a grip track, and I was sliding on corners, and I was like, and I went back to the pit. I told my friends, like, you can see, I know how to drift. I was like, yeah, you're fucking lame, man. That's a grip track. What are you gonna do, you know? And I was so proud of myself being able to get the car sideways. It was like, yeah, first that's just power drifting, that's lame, and second of all, you know, it's supposed to be fast, it's supposed to be sideways. But yeah, anyway, that was my first proper racing experience, I'd say, on the proper track. Yeah.
So then how did that lead into your career here in Japan? So that's where, like, walk us through where you've been, because you've been kind of like a few different places, and I'm just curious.
Yeah. So I did like mechanical engineer studies. Then I spent a year in Japan, and I knew that I wanted to know more about engines in particular. So when I got back to France, I enrolled this engine engineering school. I then spent 2 years working at Renault on an engine development project. Actually, it was back then it was on the Nissan engine, the VQ. So I spent 2 years working developing the engine. Yeah, at Renault.
Kinda cool. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
early Renault Nissan.
Yeah. I was more on the acoustic side of things, so especially intakes and exhaust acoustic filaments,
Very famous acoustics on the VQ. Do you know about this in America where it's trumpets? So you did that?
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
You didn't do the trumpet stuff?
No, that wasn't me. And then while I was at Renault, I remember one of my friends asked me to write technical articles about engine and stuff. So we had these magazines back then, but not very technical. And one of my friends was running one of them, and he wanted to do like more, details on engines, especially like technical things. And that's how I started to write articles for them. And they wanted me to take pictures as well. I wasn't like, I've been in the video since I was like, not little, but like younger, but not like into pictures that much. But I started to enjoy that. I was writing articles, shooting photos, and I kind of like enjoy the process. The magazine, unfortunately, like had to shut down. And while I was still at Renault, another friend came to me and he was like, yeah, I have some investors for a new project. I don't really know what to do, but I want to do it together. And I kind of missed the magazine vibe, because I love to share things with people and friends. And
Did you ever read like magazines like Sport Compact Car?
oh yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, paper for me was still a very important part of my life. Yeah. And I told him, like, yeah, let's do another magazines together. And that's pretty much when we started Autoworks. So it was a magazine dedicated to Japanese sports cars. And I knew back then that I wanted to go back to Japan at some point. And that was kind of my go card, I knew I could move thanks to the magazine. So we worked on the first issue for almost a year, I think. And when the magazine was ready to drop, I just moved to Japan. And that's where I started to shoot, write articles. And as I told you, I was supposed to stay for a year, and I never came back. And now,
Well, this is all around the same time then.
yeah. So the magazine, sorry.
Can you say for the camera how long it's been you've been here?
I've been here for 17 years. I'm an old fart.
He said it again. Just making sure.
It's all right. And then, yeah, magazine for 6 years, I think. So I was because I spent a year in Sendai as a student. It was easier for me to move back to Sendai. I like all my friends, my network. I knew the place. So it was easy for me to move there when I decided to. And I stayed there for, I think it was like 4 years. And I don't know if you guys remember, we had like this big earthquake. Yeah, 2011, yeah. And then of course that, things got like really more complicated after that. A lot of friends, they lost like family members, or most of them, they lost their cars in the tsunami. Some of the shops just closed because of that. And I was doing round trips to Tokyo, Nagoya for the magazine, but it cost like a lot of money. And at some point we decided that I had to move. And I don't really like Tokyo, to be honest with you. And I was like, yeah, Kansai is the place. People are like friendly, they're more open. I was like, yeah, let's go to Osaka, baby. And I knew the car culture was like special here. So I moved here, worked for the magazine for a few more years, but the money was really tough. Because when we launched the magazine, we gave us the lowest income possible. Yeah. And that was when the rate between euro and Japanese yen was okay. And from the moment I moved, it was just went down. Yeah. And I ended up like, I don't know in USD or what it would be, but like 700 USD per month, Oh yeah, man. I was doing like side jobs. I did like every kind of side jobs you can think about. I was like a French teacher. I did the Daiko, that's the taxi at night, everything you can think about.
All that just to fuel the passion.
Oh yeah, pretty much, yeah. I mean, at some point, I was just to eat and get warm in winter. I couldn't even feel the passion anymore. I was driving a K car back then. I had to sell my 32. I had a S14. I had to sell the S14 as well. I was just driving a K car, and like for the chief editor of a car magazine, you know, I was like, yeah, that's a little bit of a shame, but whatever. I did my best for a few years, and I was really struggling. I was about to go back to France, and I met those guys at Work Wheels. I did a couple of gigs for them, few photos here and there, and at some point they told me like, yeah, why don't you just join the company and work with us? I was like, yeah, I'd love to. I wanted to stay in Japan. I didn't know how to do it. The money was really tough, and that was just my opportunity, you know, and that's how I stayed. So I joined Work Wheels as a photographer, kind of marketing, promotion, you know, kind of guy. I created like all the social media, and I started to shoot, travel around Japan, overseas.
Yeah, you've had 4 different jobs. You went from engineer to magazine.
Oh yeah,
to
everything,
marketing guy.
everything, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not good at anything. That's true. That's true. But I know how to connect with people, and my network is what helps me to, you know, do cool stuff. I don't know, connect people, you know. And then I did that for 11 years, working for a Japanese company. 11 years. Good luck.
What was that like? Being there so long.
No. I was very lucky. They were very, very nice to me. They knew that I wouldn't really fit the Japanese kind of way of working, and they always helped me. But to be honest with you, after years and years doing the same thing, especially when you shoot for like a wheel manufacturer, you don't want to take a picture from above the car on the front. It always have to be like from the side, low angle, you know.
It's one shot.
Yeah, pretty much. And because of the compliance, you cannot shoot the car in a little bit of downtown or like in a famous shop or whatever. It has to be like a, you know, shutter or like in front of a wall. And after a few years, just get tired. And I think also in the end, I was like tired to fight with the Japanese way to do things, or being just slow moving forward. I wanted to do more things. I wanted to push more, and at some point, just, you know, you keep hitting a wall and you're just tired. And that sucks because like I had like the most amazing experiences with work. You know, traveling, meeting people. I was talking with car owners, you know, shop owners. Spending time overseas in different countries, and that was an amazing experience for sure. But like, yeah, turning 40, you're just like, if I want to do something else in my life, it has to be now. I still have the energy, I still have the, you know, the passion, the drive, and I was like, yeah, maybe I should do something. It took a few years, and one of my friends from university came to Japan to visit customers for his job. He told me like, yeah, let's go for dinner, and we spent a few hours together, and it was like, yeah, I'm doing this, and I was like, I'm doing that. He went back to France, and the following day he called me back. He was like, yeah, JC, you know, I'm struggling with my Japanese customers, and I'd love to have someone on the ground to help me with the business. Would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, okay, that's my chance to do something else. Yeah. So that's what I do now. I work for a French company that does, it's not going to sound very exciting, but wait a minute. There's like a DC-DC converters to electrify cars, vehicles, or whatever. But it's a tiny company, and the way of thinking, the way of doing things, the product they had, I was like, yeah, that's going to be interesting. They have the passion, they have the drive, as they say, and I was like, yeah, let's do that. And obviously, that's not all. Historically, the company was doing products for motorsports. And they are still supplying products for Formula One, Formula E, WEC cars. So all the hypercars now, they run our products. And I was, yeah. 入ります？いいですよ。 있어, 있어. Yeah. So yeah, that was one of the things that I was like, yeah, I like to do that. So the company is called Bright Loop, and one aspect of the work is for me like mainly marketing, sales in Japan and in Asia in general, and I'm also I wouldn't say in charge, but I'm helping with all the motorsports related topics, and that's what I love.
Yeah, right. So it circles all the way back to now,
Yeah.
where you have your Alto.
Yeah, I mean, I've been racing different kind of cars pretty much my whole life, and especially in Japan. But yeah, the more I wouldn't say like serious racing, but yeah, recent in the past years, trying to join like a proper door-to-door racing. Yeah.
Let's, because I'm curious about racing here, because you're doing this at the K car level.
Yeah.
But there's like Japan, I've noticed, has like there's almost a ladder you can do. You can do this level,
Yeah.
like Vita to Super Taikyu,
Yeah.
Super GT.
Mm.
What's your like goal? Where do you want to go in Japanese racing?
Few years back, so I would like do like training days or time attack events or whatever. I did a couple of races with the Lotus I had, but it was always tricky. The car is expensive, I wanted to join a series. That was my goal. I wanted to prove that I'm good behind the wheel.
Yeah, I get it. Trust me.
Even if I suck, I was like, yeah, I'm good. So I wanted to join like a series, proper series, kind of one make, And I started to look around, but with a small budget. Of course, you don't have many choices. The only few choices that I could think about was the N1 series, the Honda N1, the K car. They do that in Suzuka mainly. Then you have the Vitz Yaris Cup in terms of like budget range, Then I would say you can go for the Vita, but then the Vita is a dedicated race car, so you have to use a truck or a trailer or whatever. It makes things like more complicated, more expensive. Then you have the BRZ 86, pretty much, which is very very expensive. But even the Vitz and Yaris, you wouldn't think they are expensive. The car is cheap to run, whatever. But they have this car inspection thing that pretty much they have to respect the road legal, same rules. And when you race, and every time you hit the car or break something, you have to fix it before the next race. And that's when things get really expensive. For example, you get a crack on the windshield, you cannot get to the next race, and you have to change the windshield before that. So even though the car doesn't break down, tires, brakes, or whatever, it's okay. Every time you hit something, you have to replace, and that's where it costs money. But then BRZ, then you would go to Grant, which is a bigger Vita. Yeah. And then you have like other series, the Fit as well. And I would say like the first serious series you could get into it is Super Taikyu, which is accessible even if you have a national B license, I believe, which I have. I don't have the money though. But Super Taikyu is a mix between really good drivers and people with money. But it's accessible, you know what I mean?
There's a lot of classes.
Yeah, that too. But then, you could go to Formula Type and Formula Enjoy and Super GT. I guess you would need a special license. I don't know. But
so
yeah.
What keeps you in racing? What keeps you going?
But sorry, just let me go back to the series because now
sure.
I was like, well, why did I say all of this? So I was looking for a series to join, and except the N1 that was reachable in terms of cost, but driving the K car and Suzuka, I went to a couple of races. I was like, doesn't look very exciting. And I found this Roadster Cup, and I bought an NB, and I entered the competition for 2 years. That was my way to get into door-to-door racing with a kind of a series, kind of a goal, number of races per year, and with a championship and everything. That's what I did for 2 years. But yeah, and even though that was fun, I felt like alone driving. I mean, I was not alone, but I wanted my friends to join as well. But everyone has a different car. They couldn't get into the same series, and
Like a sprint series, not a
yeah. And you don't have like many of those races where you could mix cars and drive door to door. And that's when I decided to build this car. I was like, okay, if we cannot like bring all our cars together and race together, I might as well just like build one car that we drive together. And I went for K car and built that one with a complete speed, the shop we are shooting here today. They graciously lent us the space because it's fucking cold outside.
like a hot coffee, latte, or a black tea.
Hot coffee, yeah. Anything is okay, man.
Gonna do a quick check.
Sure. Still working?
No, yeah, it's good. Yeah, I was just making sure.
Okay.
Nervous about it sometimes. Yeah, 'cause that was a good.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
Sorry?
You want to take a break?
No, I'm good, man. Oh, thank you very much. Awesome.
We're almost.
So yeah, I built the car with a complete speed. They have extensive experience with Suzuki K cars and Suzuki Swift. And basically, we use the car for endurance racing. We share the car for endurance racing. So we have different series. Sometimes it's like 2, 4, 5 hours. Really depends. Ah, ici. Yeah, go man. Ici. And that's it. Yeah, pretty much the racing experience. Yeah.
It's, I'm curious where you think car culture and race culture, like racing culture, not race culture, is a very different thing, where car culture and racing culture interact. Where's the crossover is what I mean. Because it sometimes feels like racing is its own thing, right? It's like racing is its own thing versus just like street car people, right? I'm curious where you think those overlap.
I think car culture wouldn't exist without racing. Yeah. Because if you
What do you mean by that?
if you think about it, people love to drive cars. I mean, you drive cars for different reasons, of course, but car enthusiasts, they're always inspired by what they see on the racetrack, I'd say. I don't know. It feels like the thrill of driving a car, excitement, the engine. You get that from racing, and at least I believe it's especially true in Japan, and especially in Osaka. Like 15, 20 years ago, back when they had the Civic One Make series in Suzuka, people on the street would go crazy. They would just get Civic, and the infamous Kanjozoku, they would get Civics, paint them the same way the guy would do at Suzuka, and drive them around the loop, like pretending that was a racetrack or something. There you can really see the direct inspiration from racing. And even nowadays, when you go to stance events or whatever, you see people like modifying cars that the way they would do it on a racetrack. They use canard, they use like wings. You don't need a wing on the street, but still, it comes from racing. So, I would say, yeah, the car culture wouldn't exist without racing at all.
I tend to agree.
Okay.
How do you think car culture has changed since you started in just interacting with it?
It's expensive now.
That's something we've heard a lot, actually.
Yeah. I mean, how can you? So I told you, like, back in France, I started by drifting. That was my thing. I had an A86.
You missed that. You didn't tell us that.
Oh man, yeah, if I tell you about all my cars, it's gonna be like 4 hours. But yeah, I had an A86 back in France, doing, about the runabout, or so we had this tunnel between France and Italy, and you have like a steep climb to get there, and all the big trucks, they would like put gas, on the tarmac. It was like very slippery, and I would go with the 86, like drift all the way up there. You know, it was like maybe 30, 40 kilometers an hour, but like, anyway. So I started by drifting. When I moved to Japan, that's what I wanted to do. All my friends in Sendai, they were into drifting. I got the Type M, the 32, for that. We had like Highland, we had like a SS Park, obviously Ebisu. It was easy, you know. Cars were cheap. My friends at the shop would help me with the maintenance and anything. I had like a tire shop next to my house that would give me free used tires. So yeah, I was drifting at least once, twice a month maybe. And I was struggling, as I told you, with the money. And still, I was able to be there like twice a month. When I moved to Osaka, I felt the culture was a little bit more like toward grip racing. I mean, most of the people that I knew back then, at least, were into like a civic scene, you know, and it was more like a grip stuff. So that's pretty much when I did the switch, because I didn't want to drift alone, and I didn't know where anyway. And I guess that's when things started to change. Also, that the cars were getting more expensive. You know, 30 years ago, you could get like a Civics or S13 for free. Just, you know, your senpai would give it to you, just like, yeah, whatever, have fun. And now with the US bringing cars more and more, like GT, Gran Turismo, and Fast and Furious or whatever, you know, people like bring cars out of Japan more, and things got more expensive. And nowadays, I don't even know how people just can drift anymore. I mean, those like S13, S14 you could get for nothing. No, you can't buy them anymore. Even like Mark IIs or, you know, Laurel or whatever. I remember like 33 Type S, that would be, I don't know, like $3,000, $4,000 for a car, and pretty much ready to drift. Now you can't buy those cars anymore. And so one thing for sure, at least on the amateur level, things getting more expensive change the way people like tend to drive or race or drift or whatever. I would say that's the main thing. It was wilder back in the days as well. People were more violent on the track. They would like crash into each other more often just because they wanted to. You know, I heard that stories that, you know, like, yeah, that was really wild, and they would fight in the pits, or, you know, you don't see that. Oh yeah, in the pits, yeah.
Like
after
NASCAR style?
yeah, that was pretty common. You don't see that anymore. That's one other aspect. And if you think about like racing only, I think sim racing changed a lot of things as well. You know, like experience is very important when you race. Yeah, very, very important. And it would take like decades to, you know, at least back then, to get like really door-to-door racing experience, unless you're at the track every single week, of course. But if you drive like once a month or once every 2 months, it would take decades to really learn how to be good with people around you. But nowadays, with the sim racing, just spend time online or, you know, behind your screen, and you can get that, I would say, like in a few years, and which is a good thing, you know. But like for old dudes like me, you feel like irrelevant a little bit, you know, just like, oh, this guy is like 20 years old and he knows how to race better than I do. But it's okay.
But honing on the question a little more, it's not just how, more like maybe, I'm also curious what you think of how people interact with cars more. Because right now the whole thing, right, is we're in a huge state of flux of car culture, right? There's a lot of people kind of, like, there's a lot more cheap parts, and it's because stuff's more expensive, right? And there's also kind of people, you know, back in the day we used to get into it because we just liked it, you know, like, and there was no fame or anything attached to it. And there seems to be like people getting into it just exclusively to like post and to like get followers. And I'm curious what you think about that, how it's affecting, how maybe it doesn't happen here with racing, but how that's affecting car culture in general. Is that sort of like, is it chasing, you know, fame chasing, that kind of thing?
I don't think we are very exposed to that in Japan. I don't think so. I can see it in the US. Yeah, you can feel it. Here, obviously, you have people like getting into cars because they want the exposure, but even then, they would still try to make the things right. I don't know, you know, like modify properly or drive properly, even if their first goal was to get exposure. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. I guess everyone has a different relation with cars. I don't judge, because to be very honest with you, cars for me, they're just a tool. It doesn't mean I don't respect cars. I love cars. I wouldn't live without cars. But in the end, it's just a tool to help me achieve goals that I have. A tool that will help me get experiences.
A measure for personal progression in life.
Yeah, part of that as well. But I use a car. I use my cars at least to connect with people, to try to experience new things, share things. That's one of the reasons why I started the YouTube channel as well. And that's why I don't really get attached to the object in itself, but I use it more to do things, move forward, connect with people. So I guess everyone has a different relationship, and everyone is looking for different, goals or things to do. But the car culture in Japan, it doesn't feel like most of the guys joining, they really want to join because they enjoy that genuinely, I'd say. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your YouTube channel, BAKAJON. We didn't really talk about it much, so I want to give you time to talk about it.
My lame YouTube channel.
It's not lame, dude. It's not lame. I don't like all this self-deprecating talk on here. Your shit is dope, dude. You're doing dope shit.
So it all began, I think, when I bought my Lotus Elise. I was more into like serious driving. I wanted to improve. I wanted to be better. I wanted to go faster. I had the perfect tool for that. And I remember I was like, if I want to improve, I have to look at what I'm doing. So the very first purpose of the channel in the beginning was just to upload my onboards, so I could look at them anywhere I wanted to. I could show them to my friends or like other drivers to give me advices or whatever. And in the beginning, that was just me unloading onboard footage. Very boring. I didn't care about like people looking at them at all, And a few years into that, my friend Julian, we are always driving together. During a typhoon, his neighbor's roof just flew onto his car and just crushed the car. Yeah, that was bad. So he didn't have the money to fix the car. He didn't have the money to get another one. So I was left alone driving around. And I knew that I didn't want that. I don't want to drive alone. What's the point? And I knew I had to find like a motivation to do something else. And I was like, okay, let's drive all the main racetracks in Japan by myself. And I would get there, drive the shit out of the car on the track, and come back home. That was the idea, in 1 year. Yeah, and I was like, okay, now I have the YouTube channel. Let's mix things together. I always loved like filming and editing videos, so that wasn't like a tough part for me. And I knew like doing that with the YouTube channel would like give me some kind of like accountability. If I say at the beginning of the year that's what I'm going to do, I have to do it. And that's how I started. I wanted to drive all the racetrack they use for the Super GT. So you have like a Sugo, Fuji, Okayama, Suzuka, Autopolis, and that's it pretty much.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah. And I did it in a year. I did all those racetracks by myself, and that was a lot of fun.
Which
And
one was your favorite?
Suzuka, man, Suzuka. Suzuka is like different league,
Yeah.
you know. Motegi sucks.
Motegi sucks.
Yeah.
I hate it in the city. I hate it in real life. I've never been. Yeah.
Autopolis is very interesting. Yeah, very
It's
cool.
almost a math track.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like turn.
yeah.
It's not
But it's up in hills and but Motegi is, yeah, I don't like it.
Okayama's pain.
Okayama, that's where I spend most of my time with the others, to be honest.
It's also close here. No?
It's close, yeah. It's like 2 hours and a half. But Okayama, it feels like you keep pushing, and you don't get lap times.
No.
And I was like, okay, let's do something else.
It's the same thing in iRacing.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah,
exact same
yeah.
thing.
And that's it. Yeah, I did it for a year, and after that, people came back to me. It's like, yeah, we enjoy your videos. That was fun. Genuinely, you showed us stuff that we didn't see like normally, and I kept doing that. And I did it for the Roadster Cup, like a couple of road trips as well. And we're doing the same with the Suzuki. Went to the Tsukuba with the car, and you know, as much as I can. Like it's. If you're not into racing, it's like pretty boring. But at least it helps me, like it motivates me. If I know that I am gonna do a video, and for me, for my friends, that we're gonna watch together and we're gonna have fun, and I can show them to my kids, I leave something, you know. And I really love the sharing part when I was working for the magazine, and I missed that, you know. And because I always loved also to make videos, I was like, yeah, that's the perfect combo that I could share my passion with friends and people all over the world, and also like get to do cool videos that I can watch and like, oh fuck, I did that. That was amazing, you know. I'm not proud of a lot of things in my life, but that the challenge that I did with the Lotus, I really like that one, and that's what I'm trying to do actually. It's gonna sound very arrogant, but I wanna be the guy in Japan that did the most racetracks in the country. And
That's not arrogant. That's a realistic goal.
but let me explain. That's my next goal. I want to be able to say that I did like a lot of tracks in the country, and the goal is for other people to come to me and say like, no, you're wrong. I did more than you did. And I want people to get that as a motivation to try, to beat me. And yeah, that's my next thing. My next thing. I'm not gonna do that one, and that's why I bought the Roadster ND. Just travel around, do as many tracks as I can, and have people like challenge me for that. And also, that's currently I'm thinking about it, but I also want to. Have people telling me like, yeah, come to my racetrack, come here, and we drive the track together. That's one of my goals as well. Place I've never been to, I want like people, if that's their own turf, their own track, I want them to contact me, come, and we drive the track together. And that's
Share the experience.
yeah, that's what I want to do for the next couple of years.
Well, that's pretty sick. I love that. So the last couple questions is.
Yeah.
Any advice for anyone who wants to get into racing now?
Into racing.
Into racing, yeah, wheel to wheel.
I guess it really depends on your goals.
Just to get into
In terms, keep it cheap and fun. Oh yeah. if you really gifted, and if you want to get to higher series and you have money, do whatever you can, you know. But like if you just want to have fun, keep it like cheap. Don't try to buy an expensive car or a fast car, because it's gonna hold you back. You're always gonna think about like, if I crash it, if something happens or whatever, and you're not gonna be able to enjoy the full experience of door-to-door racing. And the food experience is sometimes you crash, alone. I did it without one. Sometimes you crash into people. I did it without one.
That happens, yeah.
Sometimes you have like people crashing into you, and it's part of the game. And if you buy a car that is above your budget, you're gonna miss a lot of the fun that comes from the thrill to be close to someone and race someone. Yeah. So yeah, keep it cheap, keep it fun, and bring friends with you. Yeah, that's very important. Yeah.
And on that, how do you think community, like, what's the importance of community in also getting better at like either drifting or racing, like having, you know, like feedback, like being all together? Because it seems that today, like we mentioned it earlier, about so more about like status symbol sometimes to have a car and to like flex it individually online. But you said that you started with friends. They like help you build your stuff. And there's a lot of like, you know, like community. Like, can you expand on that maybe?
Yeah, it's really tricky because social media, not only car-related things, but like if you spend a lot of time on social, you just like you don't get the real the real vision of what's going on. You know what I mean? And it's very easy to think or feel like have like a wrong image of what's going on. So the community is important because it gives you a sense of reality of what's really happening around you. So if you can just like keep it like, you know, close friends and spend times with like-minded people, and try to share what you do in a humble way. I think that's a good way to approach the relationship we have with the car and the community in itself. But of course, not everyone is into sharing stuff, you know. But at least, thanks to people like Sarah, you know, trying to make things better for the community and showing that some people really care and are like genuinely into it. It really helps to keep like a good image of what we do, because it's very easy to most of people that are not into cars, they see us as like villains, like bad guys trying to, you know, either like flex or prick, like rich pricks and, you know, spending money on whatever. But it's important to try to remember, try to show people that we care. Some of us at least, we care, and we are trying to make things better for everyone. And as long as we have those person trying to drive the community, I think more people are going to come genuinely because they enjoy seeing that, they enjoy being a part of it. I don't know if it answers your question, but yeah.
I think the last question we have that we talked about was any advice for anyone who wants to move to Japan?
Advice if you want to move to Japan, if you want to, do it. Simple. I mean, you know, if that's what you want, nothing stops you. I mean, pretty much nothing. I was very lucky when I moved to Japan because I knew people here already. I've spent a year here, so I knew the culture a little bit. I was working for the magazine, so I was in kind of in my own bubble. I didn't have to work, you know, at the Japanese company. I didn't have to take the train every day, so that was easier for me, for sure. So I didn't have to experience like the very stressful side of the Japanese life. When I spent time at work, I got like a better vision of like what's the real like working life is in Japan. But and you know, my life was like I mean, still pretty much a mess. So I don't think I'm in a good position to give any advice to people that want to do things. But anyway, I think if you move to Japan, just be ready to feel lonely sometimes, you know. Communication is like, I think that's the toughest thing to get used to here. Relationships, it's really hard to have like true friends here.
Why is that?
Because people don't really share how they feel here. They don't really get into like deep feelings, or you know, it's really tough. Even like in a love relationship, it doesn't happen very often.
I even noticed in interviews.
Oh yeah,
Don't
yeah.
deep that much,
I have like a lot of foreign friends. It's easier. I have a lot of like Japanese people that I know that I interact with on a daily basis. But I only have like 2 Japanese friends. And what I mean by friends, it's they are the only 2 persons that tell me when I do something wrong, or tell me when I fuck up. You know, when I'm wrong. And it doesn't happen very often. Otherwise, they would just like, yeah, it's okay, don't worry. But those 2 guys, they would say like, yeah, JC, you fucked up. That's not the way to do it, or whatever. And that's what I consider friends here. But yeah, relationships, communication is tough. So just be prepared for that, you know. And also be prepared to get the most amazing experience you're gonna have in your life. I mean, Japan it's an amazing country. People are very nice. It's clean. It's safe. That's one of the reasons why I moved here. And the nature is beautiful. The car scene is amazing. I mean, yeah. If you want to do it, and if you can't do it, just move. And then you figure out on the way that that's what I did. I just moved and I left everything, and I didn't really know what's going to happen, but I knew at least I would be safe, and I knew I would have like kind people around me that even though they might not share their deep, true feelings, at least they would be here for me if I needed to. So yeah, if you want to, do it.
Question. What do you listen to when you drive? Like what music? What's your favorite like three top songs?
Depends on the mood, I guess. No FX, punk rock fan, big punk rock fan here. That's when I get to the track, get in the mood. Highway, I listen a lot to Bonobo or Cigarettes After Sex when I, more chill. And I love UK hip hop as well. Roots Manuva or Leaf Dog, what else? Yeah, underground stuff. Yeah, pretty much.
Does this car have a glove box or anything? Any storage? No. Okay. We can't do it.
Yeah, you have a glove box. Why? What you wanna?
What's in it? Yeah, what's in the glove box?
Oh, where's your personal car?
There is
Yeah,
nothing.
where's he? Yeah.
What did you drive here with? Oh, you did drive that.
Oh yeah, I drove this piece of shit everywhere. I love this baby. So much fun. Like, no. I drive this car around for sure. I love it. But we can check the glove box if you want to. But I don't think there is anything inside. Or maybe my panties. I don't know.
Can you give us a tour of the
Yeah, sure.
Cash was so fire.
Was it okay?
That was great. No, thank
Okay.
you so much. Yeah.
I like so many other stories I wanted to talk about. I was like, calm down. Especially the first racing one. Because, so my first race experience was at Highland, as I told you, for the MyPace lap or whatever. But my first, I would say like not driving, but like intense experience on a toge in Sendai. My friends, that was back when I was a student. My friends took me to this like mountain road, near Sendai, near Matsushima actually. And that was my first toge experience. We'd get there, like 30, 40 cars maybe, waiting
Huge
to...
route.
Yeah. Like it was like 20 years ago. And people would go up and down. And at some point, my friends told me like, yeah, okay, that's our turn to go. Do you want to get in the car? I was like, yeah, of course. I'm not going to stay here. And they were talking like JC, whatever. And they told me like, yeah, go in the K car. They had like this Subaru Vivio RSR. And everyone else was driving like S14, Skylines, Lancer,
And then you're in this.
and they give me like the K car. I was like, "What you fucking me? Like, I'm not scared. I can handle it, you know." And like, yeah, start with that. So I get in the K car, and I was like, okay, whatever. And the guy got behind the line. It was like 3 or 4 cars, and he went at the back of the line. And I was like, okay, let's go, whatever. And they launched, and the car was just like, boom, boom. I was like, what the fuck is that? And where other people would just brake and turn into the corner, it was just goes blast through the corner. It was like behind them all the time. It's like fuck, what's going on? And we do the round trip, and I get out of the car. I was like, what the fuck is that? And actually, there was a Super Vivio, so with a turbocharger engine, 4-wheel drive. He had like welded the center diff.
Oh.
Yeah. Back then, it was like the Advan, the A048.
AO48.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
square one. Yeah.
And I looked at the car. I was like, oh man, that's.
A048's on the street.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, that is crazy. And that's pretty much when I realized that, yeah, okay, first thing, K cars are fun, and never judge a book by its cover anymore. I mean, car-wise, you know what I mean?
That's why you have this.
Yeah. K cars, man. The fan can get warm with the K car. So you want to?
Yeah. What's in the? Let's just.
You want to check the glove box?
Let's see if there's anything fun in there. Okay, after you.
Let me wait a sec. Let me get that out of the way.
No, it's all okay. Don't worry about it. That's sweet.
Put it on. You can put it over there. Very important when you shoot a video. When you shoot a video, you always want to have like a clean glass.
Yes.
Those. This is where I put my muffler, my racing gloves, whatever. This for the car inspection.
Flare.
Yeah, my Grady whatever.
What's it? What do you think?
So it's a warmer. I'm cold, and I know my shift knob is cold as well. My poor thing. And then I don't know, crabs. Yeah, bolts. Oh, my sticker. And that's it, pretty much. Yeah. Trash. Yeah. But yeah, otherwise the car, it's stripped down. The regulations on K car racing, they're pretty strict. So you're not allowed to modify the engine. You cannot modify the gearbox. You cannot put a differential.
Stock everything.
Yeah, so suspensions. On this car, we have like suspension, RSR suspensions, widened base, so longer. Yeah. And I was like, just like bringing. I wanted to keep the stock. Yeah, don't.
Like a McLaren F1.
I have to redo that one, but it's whatever. And lightweight battery, and a computer, and that's it pretty much. And yeah, fiber bonnet, fiber trunk, and yeah, that's it. You don't need much, It's slow anyway, so.